From their electrifying first clash in Monaco to the heated controversies that raged both on and off the track, few rivalries in Formula 1 have ever matched the sheer intensity of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost.
The way he's behaving like a coward.
Senna's raw, fearless speed met Prost's cold, calculated precision, creating a battle that would define Formula 1 in the late 1980s and early 1990s. This is the story of Formula 1's greatest rivalry.
Is it possible to be equal in the championship?
No.
Shit.
Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost stand as two of Formula 1's greatest champions. Senna, the relentless Brazilian, races with unstoppable speed, never afraid to push beyond the edge. Prost, the Frenchman known as the Professor, races with ice-cold strategy, every move deliberate, every risk calculated. When they become teammates at McLaren, the pressure explodes. There are no handshakes, no soft words. They hit into each other, fight for the first place, neither willing to give an inch. Both are obsessed with triumphing, driven to be the best, no matter the cost. At first, they respect each other. There is no bad blood between the two.
Maybe we fight outside the car.
I think it's gonna get more and more exciting, the championship.
The storm is brewing, but it hasn't struck yet. They race, they compete, but their competition remains under the surface, waiting for its moment to explode. But what happens when these two fierce competitors finally face off? That moment comes in 1984 at the Monaco Grand Prix. Senna, a rising star driving for Toleman, pushes through heavy rain, defying the worst conditions to claim second place. Prost, already established at McLaren, watches as the newcomer threatens his strong position. The battle has begun, and the years to come will turn this respect into one of the fiercest rivalries in the history of the sport.
Ayrton Senna, la nueva estrella de la Fórmula 1, en el podio por primera vez, tras una fantástica actuación.
As the years pass, their competition escalates. By 1988, the tension between them explodes when they become teammates at McLaren.
Do you think that he deliberately crashed into you?
Absolutely, 100%.
The 1988 Formula 1 season begins with a captivating clash as Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, now teammates at McLaren, prepare to compete for supremacy. Both drivers seem ready to race side by side, but it's unclear if they have the unity that's usually expected from teammates. That unity quickly falls into doubt. Each race exposes the growing opposition between them. Their contrasting styles clash in every corner, every straight, and it becomes clear this is not a partnership. It's a feud, no more hidden from the public eye, with neither driver willing to back down even a bit. What should have been a united duo evolves into competitors within one team, as they race not just against the field, but against each other.
I think everyone knows Prost by now. He is always complaining either by the car or the tires or the team or the mechanics or the fuel or the other drivers or the circuit. It's always somebody else's blame. It's never his fault.
The 1988 San Marino Grand Prix at Imola stands as a dramatic turning point in the ever-intensifying dispute between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Senna, starting from pole, quickly pulls ahead, building a commanding lead that leaves Prost chasing hard behind him, setting up an electrifying race. As the laps tick by, Senna's mastery of the circuit becomes undeniable. But then a critical moment shifts the race, and tyre wear forces him into the pits. Prost, sensing his opportunity, pounces and briefly takes the lead, sending a wave of tension through the track. Senna, however, is far from finished. Senna makes a comeback from the pits with utter determination. He charges back with the cheers of the crowd behind him and quickly overtakes Prost in a breathtaking move to reclaim his leading position. Senna takes the win, while Prost finishes second once again. The pressure between them escalates sharper with this win. Each second place fuels Prost's envy and the fire of their clash even further. The 1988 Monaco Grand Prix becomes an unforgettable drama for Ayrton Senna. It begins on Saturday when he unleashes one of the most astonishing qualifying laps in Formula 1 history, leaving everyone stunned. Senna finishes 1.4 seconds faster than any other driver, an unbelievable move that sends claps through the paddock. Another chapter in their battle is set for a race that promises to be nothing short of extraordinary, with Senna determined to dominate the legendary streets of Monaco. But then comes race day, and for 67 laps, Senna looks unstoppable. He races through the twisting streets of Monaco, confident in his way to cross the line first. And just as it seems like he was destined for another win, everything goes extremely wrong at Portier. He crashes for unknown reasons.
Ayrton Senna has hit the wall.
This incident is shocking. 2 tyre marks on the track suggest a driver desperately battling to control the car, not simply losing grip. After the impact, images reveal a deflated left rear tyre, fueling even more questions about what really happened.
Most people within the team think that Senna clipped this inside barrier. That's why you can see from the photographs that that front wing is slightly distorted.
What happened that day remains a mystery. Alain Prost finally claims his Monaco Grand Prix win in 1988. The incident left Senna completely discouraged, while Prost felt satisfied for not losing it to Senna again. The 1988 Hungarian Grand Prix was an important event in the season, showing the increasing unease between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. The race becomes a defining moment in their pursuit for supremacy over each other. Senna starts from pole position, continuing his dominant streak from earlier races. Right from the start, he shows his trademark speed and aggression, pulling ahead of the field. Prost, lined up right next to him, is determined to keep pace, but Senna's relentless pace forces him to stay just out of reach. Senna is all set to finish first again. Lap after lap, Senna remains firmly in control, while expertly racing on the circuit and keeping a wide gap from other drivers. Prost, always calculating, stays close enough to threaten Senna's position. Tension builds in the race as both drivers face tyre issues, adding even more drama into the Grand Prix. But Senna holds firm, resisting Prost's challenge and crossing the finish line first. This trophy, his 6th of the season, speaks of his command and fuels Prost burning fire for his rival to new heights. Senna is the barrier between Prost and first place that Prost is determined to cross now. The 1988 Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka is the race that strengthened the escalating conflict between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Senna had a disastrous start, stalling his engine and dropping to 14th place, while Prost takes full advantage by moving into the leading positions. Despite this setback, Senna continues with a remarkable charge, carving through the circuit with more speed now. But conditions become even more harsh with heavy rain. The rain makes the track slippery and hard to keep up with speed, but nothing can stop Senna. By the 27th lap, Senna closes in on Prost, who's held up by slower cars. Now is the moment for Senna to seize the opportunity and make a bold move to overtake Prost and finally take the lead. Senna overtakes Prost, who is blocked by traffic. Prost furiously watches as Senna moves ahead. Senna holds his lead to the end, crossing the finish line first again and securing the victory and claiming the World Championship. Prost finishes second and is at loss for losing the World Championship to his own teammate. He lost a golden opportunity to Senna again, and he's in denial.
Ayrton Senna crosses the line and you can see his exultation. He knows he is the world champion of 1987.
The 1988 season ends with Senna powerfully dominating the season, making it even more rivalrous for Prost. He wins 8 of the 16 races, showcasing a level of dominance rarely seen in Formula 1. This is no longer about crossing the line first for Prost. He's now in an inner conflict. He can't let Senna win over and over again. The 1989 season kicked in with the same conditions. Ayrton Senna won 6 races that season by claiming the win in San Marino, Monaco, Mexico, Germany, Belgium and Spain, while Alain Prost won 4 races by securing first place in Brazil, France, Great Britain and Italy. But Senna's luck turned upside down at the Japanese Grand Prix. The 1989 Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka is one of the most talked about races in Formula 1 history, mainly because of the dramatic contact between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. This incident not only changes their competition, but also has major effects on both drivers and the sport itself. With just 2 races left in the season, the pressure is at its peak. Prost leads the championship, but Senna is right behind. Senna starts from pole, Prost beside him. The ambiance is electric, as both know the title is to be decided here. The turning point comes on the 46th lap. Senna leads, but Prost makes his desperate move. As they approach the chicane, they compete for position and then collide, changing the course of the race and their competition forever.
Senna's looking for, and he's going through, out! Oh my goodness! Championship.
Prost's car is forced off the track, while Senna manages to continue, but is later disqualified for this action, effectively handing the championship to Prost. The disqualification sparks a massive debate. Senna is furious, accusing Prost of intentionally causing the collision, while Prost blames Senna for reckless driving. What had been a fierce competition now turns into a deeply personal conflict, marking a bitter chapter in their rivalry and shaking the world of Formula One.
And I missed one victory in my career. That 89 I won, and I was taken away. I was prevented to go to the podium when I was just about to go into it by Balestre, and I never forget that.
The fallout goes beyond the two drivers and starts debates about the rules of racing and driver responsibilities. The incident forces the FIA to step in, pushing them to clarify regulations and address the growing concerns over aggressive driving and race conduct.
I think this is just another step of totally unfair attitude from people who have the power.
The FIA's decision to disqualify Senna leads to a major conflict, with Senna accusing the organisation of favouring Prost. This incident raises their conflicts beyond the track, sparking debates among fans and media, who take sides by supporting each of the two. Prost clearly celebrates the 1989 season by finally winning the 1989 Formula One World Championship and leaving Senna furious. His long-awaited dream has become a reality now. He didn't only win the championship, but a place that Senna earned, while Senna feels completely shook up. The FIA's decision in 1989 sets the stage for Alain Prost's move to Ferrari in 1990. His contest with Ayrton Senna is far more serious and threatening as they now race as competitors from rival teams. Prost is frustrated by McLaren's internal politics, which he felt favoured Senna. As he joins Ferrari, he hopes for a more even playing field. Under Prost's leadership, Ferrari quickly becomes competitive, setting the stage for more drama. As the 1990 season unfolds, all eyes are on Senna and Prost, as their envy has doubled now. Senna is again dominating the season, with Prost closely following the lead. The Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka is once again set to decide the championship, and it proves just as controversial as the previous years. This time, Senna arrives at Suzuka, determined not to let 1989 repeat itself. Starting from pole, he's perfectly placed to control the race, but Prost is eager for revenge. He lines up right beside Senna, and in the very first corner, disaster strikes the two again. Senna's car collides with Prost, sending both spinning into the gravel. Unlike the previous year, there is no way back. Both the cars are out of the race instantly. This accident is the breaking point in opposition and ensures that Senna secures the championship, but through controversy once again.
He's trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner, but what has happened to Prost? He has gone off too. Well, that is amazing, but I fear absolutely predictable.
For Senna, it's an act of revenge. In a post-race interview, he admits the move was deliberate, a response to what he saw as unfair treatment in 1989. By taking Prost out, Senna secures the championship, but his smart tactics again sparked the controversy. Some fans and pundits criticize him for his behavior, while others praise him for standing up against perceived injustice.
How do you feel about being world champion?
It's not a bad feeling at all, is it?
Congratulations.
Prost is furious, calling Senna's actions dangerous, while Senna supporters defend him. The 1990 season turned their conflicts into a struggle of personal pride and defiance. Each season is a way of taking revenge for them. It's no longer about sports.
I was on pole. Prost did a better start, but on the first corner I was coming faster than him. I had a better engine acceleration, and there was a gap. I went for it. He closed the door, and then was nothing I could do to avoid the contact. If he had not closed the door, nothing would have happened, and we would have continued racing. But unfortunately, he closed the door, and I could not avoid the contact.
In the 1990 Formula One season, Ayrton Senna led and won the World Championship, securing his second Drivers' Championship title, while Senna won 6 races that season. By the early 1990s, the feud between Senna and Prost was still intense, but as Prost's career began to slow down, a sense of closure started approaching for him. However, it wasn't the same for Senna. In the 1991 season, Ayrton Senna continued his dominance, securing his third and final World Championship title. Driving for McLaren, Senna won 7 races throughout the season, starting strong with victories in the first 4 races. His main competition came from Nigel Mansell this time, who was driving for Williams. Then, the 1992 season was completely dominated by Nigel Mansell, so things were not so tense between Senna and Prost for now. Their showdown never quite reached the same heights as it had during their McLaren days, yet Senna's interview showed how both of them still had animosity.
I think if Prost wants to be called the sole champion, 3 times world champion, come back in a sportive way, maybe win another championship, he should be sportive. The way he's doing, he's behaving like a coward. And if he wants to be sportive, he must be prepared to race anybody at any condition, at equal terms, and not the way he wants to win a championship.
Senna frequently used the media to express his frustrations, while Prost often worked behind the scenes, building good connections within the sport. Their mind games added another layer to their duel, making each confrontation feel like a clash between 2 contrasting racers who always battle for victory.
Prost has a contract with Williams, and that's for quite some time now, and he totally refused to drive with me, and clearly states that he can't cope with me, not on the relationship, but basically I push too hard and he can't cope anymore.
Prost moved to Williams in 1993, where he mastered the season and won his 4th and final championship. However, Prost retired at the end of the 1993 season. He'd been contemplating this decision since 1990.
I'm thinking of retiring or to do something.
Really? You're really thinking of that?
Yeah, because it's, what can I do? I mean, Formula 1 is a part of my life, part of my career, but it's not everything. And I don't want to look like, we are very different, you know, I don't want to argue anymore.
The 1993 Australian Grand Prix, Prost's final race before retirement, was filled with emotion as he and Senna finally let go of years of rivalry. After battling for the title one last time, the two embraced on the podium. Senna, reflecting on their years of racing journey, began to express a sense of respect for Prost. The two had pushed each other to the limits of their abilities, and in their shared struggles, they had created a deeper understanding of each other. Senna even commented that without Prost, his own career might not have been as fulfilling or successful. Their clash, which had once been bitter and personal, softened in its final act. While the scars of their on-track clashes remained, there was now mutual respect between them as two of the greatest drivers the sport had ever seen. Prost's retirement marked the end of an era, but it was clear that both drivers had left a lasting mark on each other and on Formula 1.
It is a regret of my life that we could not show exactly what was the relation during and before. I cannot tell, but I understood that, and after. And that's what I miss about Ayrton.
But Senna's death at the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix only deepened the impact of their story. His fatal accident during the race shocked the world, and for Prost, it brought an unexpected sense of loss. Prost, though retired, was deeply affected by Senna's passing, knowing that the man who had been both his greatest rival and in some ways a kindred spirit was gone. The loss of Senna changed Formula 1 forever, leading to an advanced outlook on safety, and his legacy, alongside Prost, remains central to the history of the sport. The Senna-Prost rivalry immensely influenced Formula 1. Their contrasting styles and personalities captivated fans, drawing global attention to the sport during the late 1980s and early 1990s. Their intense competition pushed the boundaries of what was possible in F1. Drivers today often quote their dramatic conflict as new standards for excellence and determination.